Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. I'm Stephanie Fisher. I'm a licensed counselor here in the state of Michigan, and I am owner and operator of In Progress Counseling. One of the things I work on with clients often is how to navigate change. And often when we've decided we want change, there's this whole process that happens to kind of reorient ourselves towards taking next steps. Now, there's a particular principle. It gets used in a lot of organizational business leadership change processes, but it talks about my resistance to change. And for resistance to change to be disrupted or outweighed, there's typically 3 key pieces that need to be developed. One is I have to have some pretty significant dissatisfaction with how things are currently going. Number 2, I typically need a vision of what that next step would look like. So what's going to replace this thing that I want to disrupt, or the thing that's causing dissatisfaction? What do I want to replace it with? The third one is, what is the first step towards replacing it? What is the first step towards change? And in some of the theories of business, they say if any of those 3 things are at a 0, so you don't have the vision, you're not dissatisfied, or you don't have the first step, you're typically not going to make the change. All 3 things have to be really carefully crafted and robustly crafted for us to decide that it's going to be worth doing the thing in front of us that we might want to be doing. So change is not as simple for many people as like, I just wake up, I want to make a change, poof, I can do it. Typically that dissatisfaction over time is ramping up. As I'm getting dissatisfied, I start to accrue, okay, what are my options? What might that look like? And in doing that, in exploring that, I start to create a vision. Once I have a vision, which is kind of that direction, then what's going to happen is I'm going to have to determine what the first steps actually are. Now, a lot of people, if they don't see the entire pathway, they think that it's not yet time to move. But typically it doesn't work that way. Typically the path emerges as you go. A lot of students, this is an example that could potentially help us conceptualize it. A lot of students go into college with a perception of what they want their major to be. But if you start looking at the numbers of how many shift their majors as they go through the elective courses, it's very common to say, hey, I think I know the first step. I might even know where it leads, but over time, it actually becomes much clearer to me. When I became a therapist, I was more of a generalized practitioner. And then over the last 5 and 6 years, I've gotten very clear on, I work in transitions and changes. I work with emerging adults. I work with women going through different life stages. That is very clear to me, but that didn't emerge when I decided to become a counselor. That's emerged over 6 or 7 years of exploration. You don't need the whole pathway. The change model theory tells us that if you're dissatisfied, you get clear on a vision, and you decide what the first step is. That typically can tip the scales in our favor towards being able to make effective change. Those are very clear things that I get to watch happen with clients again and again and again. They come in, they vent, they're frustrated, they're dissatisfied. We start to put together vision, and then we look at what first steps are. And before you know it, they're making really cool moves that they wouldn't have even expected themselves to make. But that guided process is very, very helpful for getting us engaged in change.